Hold on to your seats. The fun and excitement of duckpin bowling is rolling your way. It's time for Duckpin Magic.
Everybody, and welcome back to Duckpin Magic. I'm Mike Seller, with me Joe Rainier. And Joe, we've got the men pros of the Duckpin Pro Tour, and it's the big event, the Masters, the one that culminates the season.
Well, it's definitely our most prestigious event, and the bowlers look forward to this all year. And Fairlanes, along with Pat Teague and her people here at Fairlanes Westview, have done just a super job, and I know we're going to see some big scores.
$25,000 total prize fund, $5,000 at stake in first prize money, and we'll be back to meet the bowlers and get our first match underway right after this.
It's exciting, it's entertaining, it's challenging, it's fun. It's Duckpin Magic. Duckpin bowling is lots of fun for the whole family. There's no need to be an expert. Duckpin bowling is easy to learn, but it's the challenge that'll keep you coming back. Even little hands can control the ball in duckpin bowling. Join a league or we'll help you start one. And with duckpin bowling, there's more bowling for your buck. Discover duckpin bowling and you'll discover Duckpin Magic at any of these locations.
Welcome back to Duckpin Magic. Mike Seller with Joe Rainier. Our first match features Steve Richmond and Danny Shipley. Danny from Catonsville, Maryland. Danny's a Pro Tour winner. In fact, his son Doug was the 1989 Masters champ. Was the defending champ up until he got knocked out of the
he come up short on the qualifying, Mike?
Yeah, well, he was in the qualifying, made the 30-man field, but was knocked out of the field. You get to that stage, it's a tough go. A lot of good bowling.
Both Danny and Doug had 200 games in the qualifying.
Yep. In fact, Doug's 231 was the high in the tournament thus far. Steve Richmond will step in out of Warwick, Rhode Island. Oop. Push through the middle. Steve is a former bowler of the year on the Pro Tour, a Pro Tour winner as well.
Tell you, Steve's been on thin ice all weekend. He was fortunate to shoot 15.22, which is actually a super score, averaging 152 for the 10 games. And he was setting 30th after 2 shifts, and no one on the last shift, which consisted of 15, 16 bowlers, beat that score, which is very unusual. We generally put as many as 30% of the last shift in the qualifying for whatever reason.
In fact, we'll see a number of bowlers of the year, current and past, coming up during the next several weeks. We just took a look at the score of this match.
Well, the fact is you put a big tournament up there and the big names usually show up. It's no different than any other sport. I don't know, have we run down from top to bottom who we're going to see, Mike? You might do a lot better job with names than I do, because you deal with them all weekend.
Well, we'll have such people as Jeff Piles out of Hyattsville, Maryland, Swede Lavers, Ken Mumaw, Wes O'Donnell, Rich Eaton, Eddie Darling, Tom Clausen, Dale Guess. Chuck Tomney will be coming up a little bit later on today.
Did Chuck have a start or what?
That was a pretty incredible 4 games that he put together, averaging nearly 200 a game. He ended up with 785 after his first 2 games, and in fact, in first 4 games rather. In fact, the lowest game he had was a 191 in those 4 games. So,
only shot, almost averaged, as you mentioned, 200, and only shot 200 once.
Right.
I mean, that is unbelievable.
Yeah, he had a 193, 191, 202, and whatever the other 190 had to be.
I'd have loved to have the box score here to go over, because I just think that what you would see, hey,
that shot by
Danny, 5-7, he slides it. Frame number 6, both bowlers spare. Danny with a 21-pin lead over Steve Richmond.
And the thing is, Chuck actually missed a couple of singles in there somewhere. He could have actually added more on his, and he had a couple of two fills on spares. So he really did a unbelievable
bad
start.
And averaged almost 200, right? Of course, he probably made 50 singles too.
Oh yeah, he made his share as well.
I talked to a bowler after yesterday that bowled with him, on the lanes with him, and he said, I've never witnessed anything in my life. As you see, Danny tripped a big pin out there.
Yeah, it sure did. Not only did it help on his count, but now it gives him a good spare opportunity here. Well, I think what happened to Chuck is that after the first 4 games, sort of realized what he had done, and the pressure, he put a lot of pressure on himself as Danny picks up the spare, and you know, he's sitting there, he's saying, geez, I'm almost average at 200 for 4 games, and what are the possibilities? And then he got nervous, you know. He wasn't.
Well, a little nervous, and I would say that the adrenaline was running so high that he was probably throwing the ball 30% faster than he should be throwing it. I mean, how do you back off when you know, we get in a groove like that maybe for a game or 2 sometimes as pro bowlers, you know, and you throw 20 frames and every ball you just feel it. But to bowl 4 games and have everything happen your way, it's just...
Chuck ended up with, I think, 1604 for the 10 games. See, Steve is untracked a little bit here. And after the first 4 games, a lot of people were talking 10-game world record, which is 1760, held by DPBA pro Jeff Ferrand. And everybody said, well, that's fine, but he still got to throw 1,000 for 6 games, so he still had to average well over 150
a game for 3-game set twice, right? That shows you how big that set is.
Yeah. So when people start talking world records and you know going for a perfect 300 game or whatever, it's a long, tough road to haul. I mean, you've really got to have a consistent, especially in a 10-game set. That's a real long period of time.
Well, I tell you, you could sit and talk and really enjoy a conversation on some of these records and how phenomenal they are.
Steve Richmond jumps up and puts 2 marks back to back, and all of a sudden we have a match here.
103 plus for Danny in the 7th frame, 99 plus in the 8th for Steve Richmond. So we're closing in on the end of the game, but the score is closing up a little bit too. It's a pretty ball. Once again, Danny looks smooth. He's really just sort of laying it out on the lane, letting the ball do the work.
Yeah, he bowled well all weekend. Got another one. Well, the whole family bowled pretty well. Danny bowled well, Doug bowled well, and Jackie Shipley, little girl, was winner in the Children's Pro-Am event held here at Fairlanes Westview. So
Danny's granddaughter, and Debbie, his daughter-in-law, also a pro bowler.
Sure.
So it's inbred there, huh?
Well, they talk about bowling being a family game. That's certainly the best example you could portray. And there's a strike. All right, he's very smooth out there, and the ball is finding the mark.
Looks very comfortable. 142 plus in the 8th, and Steve's got to go to the big one right here. With all strikes, Steve could only, and he got one there, a little help. Steve makes those things happen. Not that he's going to throw enough of them to pull this game out, but many times I've watched it. 119 plus for Steve in the 9th frame, and a 23-pin lead for Danny with 1 frame to go. So this has to be a strike.
It's interesting to see the expression on the better bowler or the Pro Tour bowler's face when they get a strike like that. They didn't hit the ball just quite well. It's a little sort of a sheepish grin, like, well, if I got to take it, I'll take it, but that's not something that I really want.
They don't make me give it back, is what they're really thinking. You know, as Steve finishes up here, and Danny will be going on to bowl Chuck Tomney, who we were speaking about. I bowled with Jeff Piles when he set the 7-game world record. It's 1320 something, but his last 5 games he shot over 1,000. He averaged over 200 for 5 games, and it was just the most incredible thing I've ever seen.
Now Steve finishes up with a 134, and Danny will run out the string, trying to add on to his total.
Danny could make 190 here with a couple strikes at the 10th.
Well, how about a double? Maybe he heard you.
Can't make 200. We can't make 200, Mike. We can get to 192 if he would throw 2 more like that. That's his second double of the game. Three spares and a double here the last 5 frames.
Yeah, he waited for the strike ball to come back. Who can blame him?
That's right. Wish I would have borrowed that.
How about another one?
Don't start thinking you'd like to save him, Danny. Just go ahead, keep throwing.
Yeah, just enjoy it while you got it going, right?
8 on this ball would give him a nice 190 start. I tell you, Mike, my prediction, and I'm going to go out 4 weeks or so and say that Kenny Mumaw is a bowler that's been on the tour for probably 20 years. Has 1 more, 2 more, 3 more, 191, Mike, as he finishes with a double and 9, actually a triple and 9.
And so that's it. Danny Shipley wins the first one, 191-134. He'll be back to take on Chuck Tomney when we return right after this.